We spend anywhere between 100, 150K a day this time of year, but in Q4, it's like 6, 7, 800K a day. Going into this year, we'll be closer to $1 million spend throughout a big part of Q4. Globally, it's not too complicated to take your brand from $0 to $20 million in a reasonable period of time.
All right, I have a very special guest, someone that started as an OG affiliate about 20 years ago who has made their way to operating at the highest level in the e-com space. I want to introduce you all to Andrew Payne. Thank you for joining me, my man.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me, John. Appreciate being on the call.
No, yeah, it's cool. We met first back in Dubai at Alex Fedorow's event. You were one of, I believe, the roundtable speakers. I think I can't remember if you had a session as well. But we had a chance to just talk a little bit of business as you know, we had a few e-com guys sitting at the table with us. I'm not an e-com guy myself. Just wanted to jump into that world for a little bit and see what's going on that side of the pond. I mean, you have been on both sides, affiliate and e-commerce.
Yeah, no, for sure.
How did you first get started? I think you said in one of your podcasts back in like 2005 was when you first started doing affiliate.
Yeah, I just moved to Dallas. I'm from a much smaller area in a different state, and I moved to Dallas. I don't exactly remember the key moment that I came across digital marketing, but I came across it in the SEO side of things back in 2005. There was not really a lot of information about it. No one was really talking and chattering about it, but I just found whatever I could. Started going to things like Affiliate Summit. It was one of the only events going around at the time. And then just slowly over the years got more and more involved in it. But ultimately, most of my affiliate marketing background's around paid advertising. So all different types of channels and methods of paid advertising.
Well, so you weren't just Facebook or just Google. I think I saw you did a speech at Affiliate World on like pop or push traffic as well.
Yeah, for the longest time, I actually focused a lot on like alternative type of traffic. So not so much Facebook and such. But the early days, I was very heavy into Google AdWords when it was one of the only platforms around. And then later on, Facebook came along. So I did dip my toes into that quite a bit. But ultimately, majority of my background's in like pop under traffic, push traffic. Earliest days when MySpace was around, for those of us who remember that. That was some of the earliest advertising before, Meta and such. But yeah, I've done predominantly a lot of alternative traffic channels in the affiliate world. And then, getting into e-commerce, Meta's one of our main channels now for sure.
Do you still focus on those alternative sources as much, or is it really centered around mainly Meta, like social, Facebook, and then maybe some YouTube, a little bit of search, Rumbles would be like more of an alternative traffic source at this point?
Yeah, we don't focus too much on alternative channels these days. We're mostly looking for high scale, big platforms. So Meta, Google, YouTube, some TikTok here and there. We do a lot of Amazon ads. We do some native traffic at times. It's one of the items in the mix, but we haven't explored Rumble yet, although it's on the list and things of that nature. Generally, we want platforms that we're able to spend, multiple six figures a day if possible.
What ballpark are you spending on your own? I think you have multiple brands at this point.
Yeah, we launched a second brand earlier this year. It's still kind of getting off the ground, but our main brand, it's very seasonal as well. So we spend anywhere between 100, 150K a day across all channels this time of year. But in Q4, it's like 6, 7, 800K a day. So it changes quite a bit.
That's wild, man. That's nuts. I've hit revenue days like that, but obviously thankfully the spend wasn't anywhere near that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a different beast to control, and it's only grown over the last few years. So the first couple of years in e-com, we weren't spending anywhere near that. But I think last year our peak days were like 750K, something like that. I think going into this year, we'll be closer to $1 million spend throughout a big part of Q4.
How is it different waking up every day, not looking at what's my margin against my ad spend today, but thinking longer term? I mean, you own I believe it's a car or tire based product.
Our main brand's called Airmoto. It's a portable tire inflator brand. Yeah.
How different is it waking up every day thinking more 6 to 12 months when it comes not just to like inventory, but also cash flow and floating I don't know, I'd imagine you have a range of a CPA rather than you need to be under 50 or under 70 or under 100. How different is it compared to your days waking up as an affiliate?
It's very different for sure. And there's a lot more moving parts and variables and expenses involved along the way. Whereas an affiliate, things are you get paid X CPA, so either it's working or it's not. So the decision's a little bit more black and white. Your tolerance when things are going well or not going well is a bit smaller. Meaning, like if it's going well, you can scale it easier. But if things are dipping, you know to pull back pretty quickly because there's not going to be any tangible value going forward. Whereas with on the e-com side, especially for this brand, we don't have like significant lifetime value. So it's not that people are buying these all the time. So we are similarly working as an affiliate model where we focus heavily on first purchase profitability, but we tend to have, much thinner margins throughout the year. And that may not always offset our entire operating expenses. But then as we go into Q4, we're able to just double down on the areas that are working best and we scale up quite a bit. So we do look at it, over a longer time frame for that brand on an annualized basis versus like monthly or weekly or quarterly, things like that. Doesn't make sense for us most of the time as we've grown. Um, and there's fluctuating expenses. All this year, there's a big topic around tariffs and how that impacts things. So obviously, things change a bit dynamically throughout the year, and you gotta be able to adjust a bit accordingly.
What were some of the biggest lessons you learned your years doing affiliate marketing that you still apply today that maybe someone that came straight into dropshipping or e-commerce doesn't think about or utilize?
I think one great thing that affiliate marketing does for you, one, you have the opportunity to really refine, your media buy skills, which maybe is becoming a little bit less valuable these days as AI is creeping in and automation, but there's still value there in understanding how channels work and what's the difference in meta, what's the algorithm like. There's certain kind of nuances to it versus native traffic. There are different nuances to make it work, so it's good to know that area. And when you're an affiliate marketer, especially on the paid side, basically all your time is spent around how do you test and make these traffic work for this offer or service you're promoting. And then the other thing is you're always looking for some type of unique edge, which you're limited on what category those edges might fall within. Maybe it's, taking a profitable offer that's you see scaling in one country and moving into another country or another channel in another country. You're always looking for those kind of opportunities that are just kind of like underutilized at that time. And in some cases, maybe you find a certain tactic that others are not deploying yet, and that gives you a little bit of an edge for a period of time. So I think in those areas, thinking strategically, getting more creative, that's definitely what affiliate marketing helped me do over the years, and gave me a lot of tools going into ecom where my marketing strength and understanding is a bit stronger than just like someone that jumps straight into ecom right off the bat.
What pushed you to, or why did you decide to transition from affiliate to e-commerce and actually building a brand and getting you to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing affiliate marketing for so long. Even for a period of time, I ran an agency. I like the sustainability of the agency, a bit more of a recurring model, but it wasn't my passion. Um, what I liked about affiliate marketing is, I could run it with very little overhead. A lot of it's dependent on me, but you also have the flip side where things are volatile, things change. It's not always easy identifying good offers to make work. There's many different strategies of affiliate marketing. There's like even SEO strategies that people have built around affiliate marketing. So there are certain models that were a little bit more manageable or had longer term opportunities. But when you're dealing with paid advertising, it's really about, launching things, finding something that works, scaling the most out of it before others kind of find out what you're doing and start jumping on the back end. And then performance typically starts to decline. So the volatility aspect was one piece. And then ultimately what made me switch into the e-com side was that no matter how good you are on the affiliate marketing stuff, there's very, very few people that make significant amount of money consistently year after year, and almost no exitability most of the time. So there's no in value that you can get out of it. So after kind of a certain good, solid run that I had with affiliates or with affiliate strategy I had going, I took about 9 months off, just kind of really thinking through what my next step could be that allowed for a bit more long-term opportunity and just much more scalability. Because always I could, pivot back into affiliate if I chose to. But I said, let's commit to e-commerce for 1 year. Let's see how it goes and then reevaluate.
What year was that?
2021, January.
That was like a very unique time in like the cross of drop shipping, e-commerce, coming out of COVID. Do you think that that coming into e-commerce during that period is a reason why you stuck with it, or you think even if you started now, you would have made it work regardless?
I think I would have made it work regardless. We might have settled into a little different category or area, but Uh, truthfully, I wish I would have started a year earlier when just before the head of COVID. That would have been a sweet time to start because you would have gotten a lot of momentum and wind to push you along the way. So I started kind of on the tail end of the main part of COVID, which presented some of its own challenges, but it was still good. And then it wasn't that long after where, the iOS 14 stuff took place and kind of really dampened things for a lot of people on Meta. So that was an earlier challenge we had to face as well. But I think no matter when I would have started, we would have figured it out. It just might have been more or less easy.
Who's a better marketer, the average affiliate or the average drop shipper?
Average dropshipper. I would say the average affiliate is certainly stronger than the average dropshipper most of the time. But again, even dropshippers have a little bit more areas that within the strategy that they can optimize beyond just marketing. So that gives them a bit more of an advantage over affiliates. But in terms of thought process, marketing tactics, generally it's going to fall. My vote would fall on the affiliate side.
They're more resourceful, maybe with less levers, right?
That's what it is. You're having to look for those kind of those kind of small tactics and approaches that you don't have to usually search as hard for on drop shipping or general ecom. But it does make you a bit more prepared.
Yeah, I found it really interesting at Fedidov's event. So I remember they were talking about what's your creative output, what's your volume of iteration versus new concepts. A lot of guys in that room are obviously a little more high level, and they were putting out good volume of creative, fresh or iteration weekly. But what we do on the affiliate side to really drive the needle and actually like sustain and grow margin, our output's way higher. I think it has to be by nature, right? Like we can't adjust our AOV or adjust our funnel or our price point or different bundles. So I think if a lot more people on the ecom side took that from the affiliate mindset, I think that the outcome would be much better, right? Like I did a bit of a debate with Professor Charlie T. This guy does not even think about front end acquisition. And I'm like, dude, that's great that you're helping these brands that are LTV focused, AOV focused. They can lose money on the first sale, but it's also a disservice to yourself and to your clients if you're an agency if you're not even thinking about the front end margin. I think it's just insane that someone wouldn't even consider that.
I mean, I think it depends on your goals. It also depends on the capital resources you have, because if you're not front end profitable, it does add a bit more risk. And if you do have an LTV component, there's still a recovery time for your revenue. So there depends on the time frame you can sustain. It certainly kind of dictates how big you can scale, because even with good budgets and capital, you're still going to hit a ceiling that you can't go beyond, even if everything's working amazing. So I think it depends if you're, a smaller person or a smaller company just jumping into things. You definitely want to be quite a bit more focused on front end profitability until you kind of figure out, your global plan.
With your second brand, is it the same nature of the tire business where
No,
no,
completely different category. Yeah.
but it has more of a LTV repeat purchase on the back end, so you can change the game a bit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That was a lesson we learned from the first brand. I didn't like strategically pick the first brand. We just kind of found some traction, and the further we got into it, we realized there were also some negatives along the way with it. So all of our future brands will have, a high repeat purchase rates, and some recurring subscription components to it.
You built up quite a personal brand. If someone just searches your name on YouTube, they're going to find videos dating back 10 years of you at Affiliate World or on podcasts. How is having a personal brand served you in your where your business is today?
I mean, I think certainly it helps with the network ability, right? And people, especially if you just meet someone new, it gives a little bit more credibility to who that person is, especially if they share good information or not just BSing. And I think one thing in terms of, like you mentioned, the last 10 years, there's quite a few things dating that far back. One thing I've learned is that people that are around year after year for, 5, 10, 15 years, those are the people that are constantly staying in tune to the market and how things are changing. They're surviving versus some people who may share information and be on podcasts for 2 or 3 years and then just disappear. I think that is a red flag oftentimes, maybe not in all cases, but being around for such a long time, doing many different areas, again, it strengthens that part. But in the main sense, it's really the network that I'm developing over time.
What when you took a 9 month hiatus, what'd you do with all that time?
Nothing much in particular. I mean, it was really in the middle of COVID, so I think the only real trip that I did was I popped over to Dubai for a few weeks, but everything was like dead or shut down. But in general, really just focus a bit on my personal health, personal fitness, things like that. Just some personal hobbies. I've been working a lot for a long time, and especially as an affiliate, you're constantly in the grind unless you do establish a bit larger of a team. So I really just kind of had a brief period of time where I do whatever I want for that break. And it gave me also some space and some time to think through what my actual next step would be that I would commit to for quite a few years going forward.
You travel quite a bit like before that or after COVID since?
Yeah, no, I generally travel quite a lot. Certainly even more so since I think just because of me really ramping up into e-commerce space and trying to take advantage of different events or speaking engagements, or doing different trips with our team. Like once a year, or the last couple of years, we do a company trip with our team as like a just enjoyment and kind of celebrating the growth and such like that. So yeah, I do travel quite a bit in general.
So when it comes to events, what types of events do you find yourself going to now that you're removed more or less from the affiliate space? But you obviously still have some good relationships there.
Yep. I mean, the first few years of getting into e-commerce, I still circled a lot of the affiliate events just because, again, I know a lot of people there. Some of them are branching into e-commerce, or there tends to be a little bit of a mixed crowd with e-commerce mixed in with the affiliate side of things. So that's kind of where I started. But the last couple of years, I've started to branch out to other events like Commerce Roundtable, geek out a little bit, starting to branch into e-commerce. I was at their Mykonos event a couple months ago, and just some other kind of more e-com centric events, but things like that. And I've also started, because my network's built, there's certain groups that are doing kind of private events that no one knows about. They're not necessarily even paid events; they're just events that people are hosting more privately, and so that's been really great for you know building the e-com network and knowledge as well.
What's been the difference you see going to the affiliate shows versus going to these e-com focused events or even the more private, invite only, smaller circles?
Affiliates, the mindset's still very similar. That some of the tactics or kind of categories that they're putting effort behind maybe change from time to time. But they're all chasing, quick dollars for the most part. Not much ever changes there, which with nothing wrong with it, but eventually I wanted more than that. But they are more resourceful. They are kind of a bit more creative at times, so you can still learn some interesting tactics that we could apply to the e-com side that gives us a continued advantage on that area. Some of the broader events, like Mykonos, when I was there for Geek Out, because of the affiliate space, a lot of people lap over to that as well. But a lot of those guys are starting to pivot a bit more e-com, but they're usually a little bit more experienced, and they have like their own network of people. So for me, the more effective events, when you say like affiliate versus ecom, certainly it's more ecom focused for me these days. But our private events that I attend from time to time, those are certainly the most effective events. I was in one not too long ago with about 20 different brand operators that all do 100+ million dollars. And that's certainly the kind of networks that I continue to try to build more of.
That's sick, man. Yeah, I was actually I spoke at James's event in LA back in December. James is a standout dude. I'm sure you've known him being in the affiliate space for years. That was one of the better events I've been to in the last few years for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What what would you say is different about ecom today for someone looking to start a brand? I don't know if you started initially just like testing like a drop shipping model and then you built a brand, or if that was how you went into it. But what do you see as the biggest difference now as we go? I mean, we're basically 2026 versus 2021 when you first came into the space.
Yeah, the first few months, or really the first month in e-commerce is when I found the category that we're now in for the first brand. It was like the third product I tested. Um, and we did for a short time, or I did for a short time, drop ship, but then very, very quickly switched to buying the inventory in bulk, bringing it to the US. So I think I drop ship for maybe 2 months, not very long. And so, that my plan all along was to optimize costs, get as much AOV, as much margin you can along the way. So I was moving as quickly as I can to optimize all those areas. But that means you are, again, needing a bit more capital to invest into inventory and then shipping and then warehousing and all this kind of stuff that may not always make sense for everyone right away. But fast forward now, especially this year with the tariff changes, what's called the diminished rule is now, no longer in effect. So drop shipping, you're being hit with a lot more customs taxes and such. So the drop shipping model's really changed a lot. It's going to be quite a bit more difficult. I think I see some people, pivoting more to like skincare, beauty, and supplement routes just because the cogs are smaller, and even if they were sourcing it outside of the U.S., the customs fees are much cheaper on that kind of product. So that's some of the pivots that I see. But generally, you're having to get more serious about the business model. So I view drop shipping as like the affiliate of the ecom industry. And as always, even on the affiliate side, every year things change, gets more difficult, more hard. You have to pivot and get more serious about your business model if you want to survive long term. So I suggest and recommend people just take it serious right away and don't focus too much on just the drop shipping model. Although there still is opportunities in European countries for that kind of model. Um, what I typically see is after a period of time, people eventually want to come to the US market, and so they have to be quite a bit more prepared.
For sure, man. What with your own brands at this point, what is your goal? Do you want to exit? Do you want to just keep growing them? Do you want to build a portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately we want to be able to exit the brands. At this moment, our goal is to build a portfolio. We've been really growing our team over the last few years, with anticipation of taking on more brands that we want to grow. So earlier this year, we did launch our second brand, and so we're just continuing in that direction. I think at some stage, we'll either sell a portfolio as a whole or in part, things like that. But ultimately, that's what we want to do. But I'm also okay with just building a very strong cash flow business as well. So it's not like my only goal is to exit.
Do you look at now that you have two brands, do you look at it as one team driving both, or are you splitting out separately, like creative director on one team versus other and building around that?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're still kind of working through that phase. So a lot of our same core team is spending time on both brands. Because our main brand's quite seasonal, we have a little bit of a opportunity throughout the year to focus on the new brand. Now that we're entering into Q4, we're kind of pulling back some of the focus and keeping it more driven towards the first brand. But we've already started to kind of put together a structure on how will we actually dedicate resources and teams to both brands going forward and potentially further brands beyond that. So we're still working through it, but we are kind of approaching it with a little bit of a pod model. So building like, say, a core creative team around brand A versus the brand B, keeping some of our key like creative directors and such, just keeping one of those to help guide both those brands, but giving them kind of strong right-hand people who are directly responsible for those brands' directions and things like that. So still working through what our exact model is, but that's how we're currently approaching it.
How big is your team?
I forget exactly, but we're somewhere around 52, 54, something like that right now.
It's pretty for I mean for the volume that you're doing, that's pretty lean.
Yeah, we tried to be super lean all along the way. We do our whole team's remote, so it's all around the world, different countries. We probably have a greater team than we need for just the one brand, but we did that with anticipation of bringing in the second brand. But in general, yeah, for our revenue numbers and such, we're a pretty lean team.
When you were in your affiliate days, did you run a pretty small team yourself then, or was it more bloated?
No, a very small team there as well. Mostly just a handful of contractors. I don't think I had more than like 5 people at any given time. So very, very low volume. Especially the last couple of years of my affiliate stint. I had like one developer and myself. That was basically it. We had a model that just allowed for super lean team and producing solid results. So didn't really take too much oversight.
How are you using AI today in your business versus like to automate stuff that would be more manual to maybe 3 years ago?
Certainly we're starting to leverage it more on the customer support side for sure. We see it as a way to kind of keep overhead count low in that area, also to provide a better experience to the customer. But I think our biggest area that we're currently leveraging it is in the copy and creative aspect. Like our teams are really diving pretty heavy into there, not only for ideas and kind of some baseline copywriting, but also for, video clips, images, etc. So it's an area that we're still working to really robustly build out, but our team's been using it pretty heavily for about 6 months now.
What about on the developer side? Have you automated or scaled easier with funnel builds and custom scripting? And I don't know how much you need to do that at this point.
Yeah, I mean we are constantly we have a development team now, and I can't say that we're leveraging the AI tools around development too much. There have been moments where we have, but since a lot of what we're doing is a bit more specialized and customized, we have to. It still takes a lot of work to refine those AI coding tools. Like you can't just build out everything instantaneously, but sometimes you can, have it build out a block for a certain feature set, and then we can take that and just rework it to integrate with our existing code base. So we do things like that, but not like we're not leveraging it and its maximum ability just yet.
What gives you the most leverage at this scale? More creative?
Good question. What gives us the most leverage at this scale? Certainly creative helps because we are able to put out a lot of creative, whether it be through the support of AI, but just we have a really strong creative team. I think, other things that help us is that if we enter into a new category, like the new brand, we already have quite a bit of resources to buy more inventory from the start. So we can tend to negotiate better pricing. We have, a team based in China that works for us, that's on our team. That's also a huge advantage that a lot of people don't have if they're working with like a sourcing agency. So we're kind of cutting out the middlemen for a lot of that stuff. We're constantly reevaluating costs everywhere. So just kind of refining and improving our costs in as many areas as possible, in addition to focusing on just high scale channels. So we're not spreading ourselves too thin. While we're over 50 people, there's still only so many projects and tasks that you can take on at one time. And I tend to find that people are just trying to do too much at once and not fully maximizing the 2 or 3 or 4 key things that they could take it and 10x their business with. So we just try to remain focused around like the 90-10 components of everything.
What is your focus like day to day, week to week right now?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few meetings with different team leads throughout the week, mostly on Mondays. Otherwise, it's a lot of business infrastructure stuff. So, dealing with some of our external accounting firms, legal stuff, etc. Some negotiations with our suppliers. I'll review kind of like softwares and tools that I might want to implement into the company. Just kind of estimate if it makes sense. Is it going to save us money? Is it going to improve efficiency, etc. So that's mostly where I spend a lot of my time. Also guiding the team on my thoughts with any product development we're doing and such. So not too much of in the trenches day to day, but I'll pop into those meetings on occasion just to make sure they're on the right track.
What if you were to start over today with just enough to get going, maybe let's say 5 to 10K put away that it's not going to crush you if you lose that money. What advice would you have for someone on the affiliate side? And then what advice would you have for someone on the ecom side starting right now?
And you mean like affiliate side as if they're getting into affiliate marketing? Yeah. Um, oh, great question. I've been a little disconnected from the core affiliate stuff for about 5 years, but I think the strategy and approach would all be similar. You want to reduce your chances of failure, so you need to evaluate your ideas, do a lot more research than before, so you can't just like spray and pray and expect something to work out. So get really good at using some of the main, spy tools and other research competitive tools. Find someone that's already making money in a certain area and evaluate, do you have an alternative way of making money with that? Like I mentioned earlier, if something's scaling on Meta in the US, okay, maybe you check it out on native in Germany, where you just do the translations and swap it over. So some high probability idea where you're not having to figure out all the components. And honestly, even for the ecom side, not too different than that. My main suggestion would be definitely start with something that has either high repeatability of purchases or a subscription LTV component, because that will help reduce some of your early mistakes. And like, even if things don't go well the first month, there's going to be some back end revenue eventually come in that kind of softens the blow until you figure things out. But again, model after something that's out there in the space, but identify where do you think you can improve upon it. So don't just copy it one to one, but come up with ideas. Okay, maybe this person's going after seniors, but can I take this model and go after, children or kids or something a little bit different? And then figure out how also you can improve it to be a little bit different than others in the marketplace.
Do you get a lot of beginners reaching out, kind of lost to how they get going, whether it's the affiliate or the ecom side?
Not too much. I'm a part of a number of different groups, so sometimes I'll chime in, but not too many are hitting me up directly. I wouldn't have time to respond to everyone anyways, but usually just my closer inner circle friends I keep in touch with more closely. But from time to time, I will connect if it makes sense.
If you were to start another brand right now, a third brand, let's assume the second one's crushing just like your first one is. What are some two or three verticals, categories you would go after?
I do find globally it's not too complicated to take your brand from $0 to $20 million in a reasonable period of time. If you're getting into, say, some area of beauty, skincare, things like that, there's just so many people that want personalized, approach to their skincare, or just something that's tailored a bit more for them. So maybe they're, all natural people that are active hikers, for example, right? Or active outdoors. So you can craft a brand that speaks to that particular segment of the audience. It's much less competitive. It's, specifically designed for that type of person. Maybe the packaging and style and such things of that nature. That's an area that I see a lot of opportunity still in ecom without too much difficulty. Getting beyond 20, 30 million might be a bit more of a challenge, but there's a high success rate in that category in that level. Um, yeah, that would be probably the most obvious one. Otherwise, there's a lot of supplement stuff as well. I really haven't been too interested in supplements for some time, but we are starting to reevaluate that. There's a lot of supplement brands out there, and the main thing is the cogs are low. So again, if you figure out a creative way, creative audience, creative segment, there's brands like Primal Queen that kind of took over a segment that was just completely untapped and did a really great job of the execution. So it wasn't just that the market was untapped, but the great branding, great name, just really strong marketing, really good creatives, and just kind of blew it up very quickly. So, that's a great opportunity. But again, do your research, do your homework, come up with really logical hypothesis that you think there's an opportunity in that market and how you can do it well.
What's the biggest mistake you've made in the last 1 to 2 years that's you've taken the lesson from that and it's been like the biggest gift to your business?
One of the biggest lessons that was a little bit not as obvious to me early on was that as we've grown, we've had to put a lot more attention around proper financial planning, because there's a lot of components in place when you have team overhead. Then you have a Q4 season, which requires a lot more inventory. So cash flow starts to become a challenge. We took some additional agendas last year. So things like we tested TV advertising and threw a chunk of money that direction. And we learned a lot, but ultimately it was a net loss at that time. And so proper planning to know when you should plan those kind of agendas or how to spread those agendas out. That was something that we learned last year that it definitely, gave me a few headaches throughout the year.
How do you, when you have three or four potentially big opportunities, like maybe expanding in the TV, something like this, how do you pick and choose the one you feel is the correct path? Because I mean, as you probably experienced many times in the last 20 years, when there's multiple opportunities, some will just cost you. and you
Yeah.
get you learn nothing even from them besides that you shouldn't have done them in the first place. So how do you make those decisions now?
I basically just kind of evaluate things through the Eisenhower matrix, and I'll just keep it kind of short. But essentially, you bucket your ideas into four different quadrants, and so as you're listing out your ideas, you just identify what quadrant they fit in. And the main quadrant that we focus on is like what can we execute in the shortest period of time that's going to have the highest return. And so even if we have a lot of great ideas, if it falls outside of that box, we really don't put attention on it in the near future. Maybe as our team grows, we can take on some of the other quadrants. But if you look up the Eisenhower matrix, you can kind of see how that's mapped out, and we just adapted it to be based on time of effort and size of return, basically. So if you evaluate TV versus say, popping up on TikTok, TikTok's going to be a lot easier to execute than TV. They both, have high potential return, but because the execution is so much faster, you have a greater chance of making TikTok work, basically.
And last question, what are you most excited about the next 1 to 2 years with your businesses?
I think the last 5 years, or we're approaching 5 years rather. We've really been able to refine our strategy, and we ultimately have a very strong, competent team. So I feel like we're just graduating kindergarten and then entering into the next layer, and that's exciting because I think we'll be able to move faster, make better decisions than in the past, and just grow something much more substantial than we did. And because of the shift with the tariffs and the diminished rule, I think it's going to make it harder for drop shippers. So I think for a period of time, there's probably going to be a softening of competition and until people really start taking it more serious. So I think it's a unique opportunity the next 1 to 2 years to take advantage of that.
It's awesome, man. Dude, thank you for your time. How can people connect with you, learn more about you, your company, your brands, or just connect?
Yeah, I'm not super active on social, but I do hang out on X. You can find me at Real Andrew Payne. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well. That's the two best places to connect with me.
Cool. Appreciate the time, man. Thank you for sharing all the gold you dropped in this video.
Anytime. Thank you.